Rupa Hub.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. It's a pleasure to follow my near neighbour for North West London in one direction, and it's also a pleasure to be supporting the bill brought before us from another North West London neighbour in another direction, my friend for Westminster North. And usually when legislation comes before us as MPs, we have a sophisticated lobbying operation from those people like Change.org and 38 Degrees that sort of spam us with lots of emails. But I have to say, for this bill, the number of people that have contacted me has been far wider than that. In fact, every Friday at my surgery, which I'll do after I finished here today, cases that come before me, knowingly or unknowingly, are asking for this legislation. And we went over the 20,000 mark of individual cases processed since 2015 in September in my office. And a large number of those are housing issues. People come and they show you on their phones pictures of damp where it's just too big to be a case of buy a spray and bang, the dirt is gone. You know, it's a bigger problem than that when the ceiling's caving in or whatever. Or people that have rodent infestations where their children can't sleep at night because of the gnawing that keeps them up. I mean, the number of cases is multitude. But I'm getting a strange sense of déjà vu, because in 2015, I remember one of the very first things I spoke in was my honourable friend's bill, precisely with the same title, and on that occasion it was talked out by the other side. So I think that's why some of us on this side were getting a bit jittery when the honourable member for Harrow was being a bit loquacious just there. We're relieved to hear that that was not the case anyway. So look, I mean, it's not a good look for a modern Conservative party that, you know, opposed homes fit for human habitation, and I'm glad that they've seen the error of their ways and will be supporting this legislation today. Look, I only want to be brief because I don't want to, you know, do the same game and talk ourselves out with this bill today. So I'm going to be very brief. The gaps behind it have already been dealt with. The difficulties of enforcement, hang on, what were the other things? I think everyone's already dealt with those. I wanted to draw attention to one more of those, which is fire safety, which is not dealt with the existing legislation. And my honourable friend and I have the A40 between us, and at the side of the A40 is the Grenfell Tower. I went past it yesterday. Anyone who lives in Ealing who goes to central London by road would. And that serves, the carcass, the burnt carcass in the sky, in one of the richest boroughs in our nation that used to be the world's 5th largest economy. I think it is now the 6th post-Brexit, but that's another story we won't get into now. But the fact that there were people burned alive in their homes because people poo-poo the idea of regulation, people bat away the idea of health and safety as meddlesome and troubling. And, you know, when you don't take these concerns seriously, that is the logical extension of what happens, and it's something that shamed our nation. My honourable friend mentioned at the start the very powerful groups who are backing her bill: the Law Society, the National Housing Federation, the Chartered Institute for Environmental Health, Shelter. 51 years ago, their film Cathy Come Home shocked the nation, and, you know, Grenfell, I feel, has shocked the nation again this second time. As I said, I'm not going to be long. So, hang on, what else was I going to say? As an opposition MP, you know, I'm into holding the government to account. This legislation holds landlords to account where standards are not met. And I have to say, last time that this came before, well, in fact, no, actually, I'll just get in while I'm here. As the chair of a new all-party parliamentary group on single-parent families, you don't have to be one to be in our group, by the way, so quick plug there. I'm duty-bound to point out that the Joseph Rowntree Foundation's figures show that single parents are more likely to live in substandard accommodation and poverty than any other type of family, a rate of 20% compared to a national average of 7%. And the English Housing Survey shows that people in poverty are far more likely to live in hazardous homes than those who are not. So, I mean, that's why this legislation is needed. And as I say, I'm pleased to see the government's change of heart. Last time this came before the House, the member for Nuneaton scandalously said that my honourable friend's proposals, and in fact Labour Party proposals for all those things like landlord licensing, I'm pleased that my council, London Borough of Ealing, does have a register for landlords. But anyway, the honourable member for Nuneaton, who I believe is now a Conservative Party chairman, not a DCLG minister anymore, said that this will result in unnecessary regulation and cost to landlords. It will deter further investment and push up rents for tenants. I think that's scandalous. And I'm glad that this government, we had a new government, don't we? We have a Prime Minister who talked on the steps of Downing Street about burning injustice. So, you know, I'm glad they're going to put their money where their mouth is and back this legislation, which I hope will be a staging post in, after the next general election, a government that is for the many, not the few.